Croeso I sianel Blaid Llwyd. Once more we're back with Lyre, back in this northern kingdom, waiting to see what's going to happen next and what happened after that cliffhanger last time. Okay, I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. Let's find out. What happened to him? Going to be okay? He should be fine. I hope so. My eyes feel like they have been sealed shut. My head is throbbing with a dull pain. I'm laying in bed on my back with a few pillows propping my head up. It's very cold. I force my eyes open. This seems oddly familiar. Both Lyre and Leif are on the other side of the room. Leif is sitting at my desk writing on a piece of parchment. Lyre has his hands on the desk, is leaning over it, watching what Leif is writing. Leif looks very small in my chair, his shoulders barely coming up over the desk. I slowly sit up in bed and they turn to me. You're awake. Leif hops out of the chair and they both walk up to my bed. How long have I been out? I pull the covers up a bit, realise I'm not wearing a shirt. About a day. Today is the winter solstice. What happened? Oh, you tell us. You're already distressed on edge in the dining chambers. It all comes back to me after he says that. I do seem to remember something like that. I hope I didn't offend the king. He wasn't offended, I'm just confused. The War Minister was more confused, though. He let out this painful yell before falling over. Oh, that must have been a great first impression. Oh, I'm sure it was. He says this with all of the sarcasm he can muster. I managed to catch you before you hit the floor, though, so you should be fine. He says this with a tone of proudness in his voice, which I can't help but smile at. I feel fine, though. My head hurts a little and I still can't shake the thought of that creepy dream I had, but I feel fine. It predicted information that I had no knowledge of. I can still remember everything clearly, right down to the nearest detail. Would you mind telling me what had you so troubled? I take a moment to gather my thoughts before telling him. He grabs a quill and a piece of parchment and gets ready to write. I had this dream the night before. It was about the murder of Queen Elena. Who told you about that? Raynar did, just the day before. The only problem with the dream was that it felt too real. I didn't realise this at first, but I was experiencing it from Raynar's perspective. I also didn't have any control over anything. I remember the horrible feeling of not being able to do anything as those horrible events unfolded before me. It must have been worse for Raynar considering he actually couldn't do anything. The scariest part about it was there were things in the dream that I didn't even know about. Events, people, all sorts of things. Every detail was laid out for me on a silver platter. And Raynar confirmed some of these details for me, which is what I'd feared the most. I pause and rub my eyes. Lyre is staring at me with a curious look. Leaf is gazing at me, taking everything in and giving me his full attention. I hoped it was just a coincidence. It feels like much more than that. What things did you see? I saw Alina's murderer. He was a reptile in a black cloak. What colour were his eyes? He blurs this out immediately, the look of determination on his face. Red. Almost glowing. He crosses his arms tightly across his chest, then looks to the floor with a thoughtful glance. I want to tell him about how I saw him in the dream, but Leaf speaks before I can. This is very odd. He folds up the piece of parchment and places the quill back on the desk. Thank you for telling me this. I'm going to go and see what I can figure out with the little time before the festivities. You seem well enough to go about your day, but I would suggest resting up a bit before tonight. He walks over to the door and opens it. I'll look for something to help with the nightmares and let you know if I find anything. He steps through the door and closes it with a soft thud. Lyre is still standing there looking at the floor. He seems afraid. I can see his tail tucked between his legs. What's wrong? He looks up at me with a solemn look. He anxiously rubs his thumb between his fingers. Lyre? Oh, yes, Ivor? How did you get that scar? He brings a paw up to his face and gently rubs at the old wound. I got it from the... He fidgets with his paws and his tail droops a bit. I know it must be an uncomfortable topic. Would you mind telling me what happened? You don't have to if you don't want to. His chest inflates as he takes a deep breath and he begins to speak. I told you about how I squired for Lord Bryn for I was knighted, correct? Yes. Well, I was 13 at the time when the king requested Lord Bryn to meet them halfway to an outpost in the canyons. The king and queen were on their way back from a trip to Driss. They wanted him to be there for an important discussion with a Drishan diplomat. It was a long trip and I was very excited. It was my first time outside of the kingdom. I didn't get to see much though. Just a northern run and some of the canyons. They were huge, but nothing like the mountains west of here. He jerks his head in the direction of the window, where the mountains roll down to the water's edge. On our way back, the attack happened. I was among some of the soldiers who were part of the defence. I didn't have much training, but I held my own pretty well. Well, thankfully, I didn't have to kill anyone. I can see his words catch in his throat. But I fought him. The man who killed her. Really? I'm sure of it. His tail is now stiffly tucked between his legs. It was a very quick fight. He was running towards the royal carriage and I cut his tail. He turned around and grazed me with his knife. Cut a huge gash into my face, but thankfully my eye is fine. I can still see out of it, but not as good as my other. He looks at the ground, clenching his fist. Can we not talk about this? Of course. Oh, thank you. I just don't like to talk about it because every time I ask myself a question. What would have happened if I had stopped him? Things could have been different. And I can see his eyes welling up with tears. I get out of bed and envelop him in a warm embrace. His armor is cold on my bare chest. It's okay. None of that is your fault. We can't change the past. He seems a bit shocked at the sudden physical contact, returns the favour and wraps his arms around me. Thank you, Ivor. That was a really awful event. We step back from each other and I sit down onto the bed. I just have one more question. It's not about that.
Well, what is it?
Your family, the Reed family.
Oh, yes?
I'm not very familiar with them. In Erin, we don't hear much of other nobles, especially from Lyre. Would you mind telling me about them?
Oh, not at all. The Reeds are a very old family. Records of our lineage dates back almost 500 years.
Wow, that's a long time. He nods his head enthusiastically.
Yes, and our family has served the Ocean family for generations. At one point, we were the second most powerful family in all of Lyre. But over the years, that has changed. The Reeds are dying out. There isn't a lot of us left. Well, my father, Marcus Reed, is the lord of our large keep in the Golden Timber. I'm his only child and have no interest in women, so I cannot continue the family name.
He says this in a hushed voice.
He can vex me all he wants, and I'm not getting married. Especially now I've given my life and heart to this kingdom. So our family will most likely die out, but I've accepted it at this point. Once my father passes away, I'll be the last Reed.
There's a nice ring to it.
I guess it does.
I just have one more question.
Yes?
What's your family crest look like?
Ah, yes. It's,
He pads over to my desk and grabs a piece of parchment and a quill.
Do you mind?
No, not at all. He starts drawing the paper as he describes it.
The area where I'm from, the Golden Timber, is a little bit northwest of here. It's called that 'cause when it snows, the trees will shine like gold as the rays of sunshine pass through the snow-covered leaves. It's said that when my ancestor Radolf Reed was born, it was during an eclipse. This was when the founders of my family decided to make our family crest an eclipse.
He finishes his drawing and swipes the parchment off of the desk.
Yeah, this is what it looks like.
He holds up a drawing of a symbol that I recognize. It was painted on his armour in my dream. I've never seen this symbol anywhere else, though. It's not on Lyle's armour, considering the royal armour is plated with the Ossian crest. The sharp pain flows through my body as I try to remember.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a small headache. Lies come easy to me when I'm telling half-truths.
You should rest for a bit. The ball is tonight. I don't think you'll want to miss it. You have your outfit ready, right?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Will I be seeing you there?
Oh, yes, I'll be there. I'll be doing my job, but I'll be there.
Now is my chance. I really want to ask him if he'd like to go with me. Are you, going with anyone? I can see his tail swish side to side.
No, I'm not really going with anyone. I'd rather go just to have fun, you know?
Oh, yeah. Damn it. I feel the same way. The next few seconds are extremely awkward. Why am I so bad at this? I find it silly how I'm able to ask heavy questions like the ones I've been asking for the past day, but I can't ask a handsome wolf to a dance. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've never been good at romance.
Well, I'm gonna leave now. I suggest you get some rest.
Okay. He walks over to the door. I'll see you this afternoon then.
Of course.
He opens it and walks through, closing it softly. Once the door is closed, I lay down in bed and pull the covers up over me. I'm still trying to comprehend the dream that I had. It was similar to the others, but much more vivid. Considering the way things played out, I'm not entirely opposed to the idea of it being some sort of vision. That just scares me more, though. I lay there for a few minutes trying to fall asleep. My mind keeps racing. After a couple of minutes of focusing my mind on other things, I managed to become drowsy. The next few hours are filled with restless sleep, that I find myself tossing and turning in bed. I slowly come to, feeling extremely delirious. Thankfully there are no nightmares or any dreams for that matter. My sleep was very empty and as black as night. I suddenly realised that the disturbance that woken me up was the noise of knocking at my door. The knocking gets loud as I stumble out of bed and throw a coat around my naked torso. Whoever is at the door clearly has something urgent to tell me. Just a moment. I reach the door and open it, expecting to see Lyle or Leaf. Prince Adrius? He recalls a bit of my surprise, but quickly composes himself. Lord Ivor? He looks me up and down with a judgmental gaze. I see you still undressed for the ball. I awkwardly pull the coat more tightly around my body to cover up. The best I can do considering I'm only wearing a pair of loose trousers and no shoes or socks. I was resting. What could he possibly want with me? Why would you be here to see me? Usually whenever we have a simple chat, it's in the dining room chambers or the halls. Please, come in. I usher for him to enter, but he stays standing in the doorway. I decide to humour myself and make him uncomfortable by insisting upon it more. Your Highness, it's very cold out. I'd rather not let a draught in. He's hesitant, but walks into the room and takes a seat in one of the chairs, dusting it off first, of course. I doubt it's outside your understanding as to why I am here. I take a seat at my desk and place my hands on my lap. Actually, I have not the slightest idea. It's all a bit surprising. Yes, I suppose it is. After this brief interaction, a long moment of silence follows. He sits there, tracing his finger along the patterns on the fabric of the chair he's sitting in. Every moment that passes, I just wish that I was somewhere else. I can no longer bear the sense of the amount of silence that echoes throughout the room, so I clear my throat. It's nice to see that your horns have grown back already. He instinctively brings his hands up to his horns and runs his fingers up to the tips. Yes, that oil does seem to work wonders. I take you'll be able to defend the ball tonight then, without any embarrassment. He lowers his hands from caressing his horns and looks at me. No, I don't think I will be attending tonight. As much as my father wishes me to. He pauses for several seconds, looking out the window with a glare in his eyes. I apologise for my outburst the other day. It was an embarrassing moment for me, and I regret my actions. Do my ears deceive me? Am I getting a heartfelt apology from the prince himself? Can't help but wonder if this ever happens. You almost choked those last few words out. Your Highness, all is forgiven. It did not affect me as bad as you would think. That's good to hear. But that is not why I am here. There he is. It was all formality, as I predicted. The reason I'm here has to do with yesterday's events. He sits up a bit and stares into my eyes. His eyes are big and have a bright golden brown pupils. Oh yes, I was acting a bit irrational. I must have been terribly delirious, but I am feeling much better now that you know what happened. Sorry, what? My mother's death. What happened 10 years ago? As irrelevant as it is. How did you come to find out about this information? You arrive here a clueless, naive ambassador, clearly only armed with your people's skills, and yet... He pauses to shake his head as he prepares his next rude yet witty comment. And yet you still lack in that regard. Now wait just a moment. And now only a little over 2 weeks into your stay here, and you already know of this tragic event. And with such detail. He stares at me with an intensity I've never seen before. Almost as if he were there when it happened. His fist is clenched tight enough to where I can see the fabric stretching and creasing. I'm not really sure what he's implying by this, but I know that he's definitely not happy. All sense of casual conversation is now gone as tension rises in the room. I place my hands on the desk and drum my fingers on an open book. Yes, I guess it would seem like that. As unbelievable as it may sound, it was from a nightmare. He lowers his fist, yet still maintains his deadly eye contact. I've come to the conclusion it was a pure coincidence, nothing more. This isn't the case, but I'd rather not make a fool of myself in front of him as I did the others. The more and more time passes, the more I regret reacting in such an undignified manner. I understand that almost anyone would react in that way if something like that happened to them. I can't help but feel stupid. It was merely a few traits from the nightmare coinciding with the actual event. No, some of those traits could not have been coincidental. Everything from her account was perfectly accurate to how Father described the original event. Wait just a moment. How do you know so much about what happened yesterday? He quickly stands up from his chair. Never mind how I know. I don't know what you're up to, but I don't like it. I quickly stand from my desk. You can clearly see that I'm not enjoying these vague accusations. I don't like how he thinks he can treat people this way. I'm going to be advising him in the distant future. He needs to learn what that means. I don't know what you're talking about, Adris, but I am certainly not up to anything. You may be the prince, but don't let that give you the impression that you can come into my quarters and accuse me of treasonous behaviour. I haven't said or done anything that should lead you to this conclusion. After I'm done shouting, I feel a sense of triumph. You would expect someone like him to be completely shocked by my sudden outburst. He's probably never been told off by anyone beneath him before. Despite my judgments, he just runs his hand along the arm of the chair as he walks towards the door, looking me in the eye. I never said anything about treason. He reaches the door and opens it, a thick gust of cold air flying into the room and settling to the floor. Father has told me that once I am king, you will be advising me. Even though I feel that is something I should choose. Allow me to bestow some advice to you, Lord Ivor, before that time comes. He steps out into the hall, holding the door open. I would watch what I say and do in this castle. The walls have ears, and oh, how they love to listen. With that he exits, the door closing behind him with a muffled thud. I'm still standing at my desk, my muscles strained and my head feeling a bit weak. Edgy little brat. I say this in a low voice after hearing that last comment. Sometimes I'm surprised they're only a little over a year apart. I pull the chair up and sit back down in it, feeling a bit lightheaded. What did he mean by that? Does he have spies roaming about? It makes sense considering he's a noble in an environment full of uncommon and unfamiliar people. He doesn't seem like the paranoid type. Though having spies never really hurt anybody. But for what reason would I want to cause trouble? This doesn't make any sense to me. I fiddle the trinkets and items on my desk in a lazy manner. I'm thinking too much about this. It's most likely an empty threat from a person I still haven't gained the trust of. And I haven't done anything wrong. I still can't help getting the feeling I'm being watched. It's not a feeling I enjoy. He's just an entitled brat that needs to get out more. An untouchable entitled brat. I'm going to watch my step around him, though. I'm definitely not going to bend to his will. His mother's death is no excuse to be rude and insensitive. I rest my head on my desk and try to think about something else. The ball should be starting soon and I haven't gotten ready yet. There's another knock on the door. Come in. I open it to find a servant standing in the doorway. Lord Ivor, the winter solstice ball will be starting shortly. I have been sent to help you prepare and escort you. It's a small badger with plain clothes and a pleasant face. He looks to be no older than I am, but I really can't tell. For me, it's much easier to judge a human by their age. Prepare? Yes, getting dressed and whatnot. Oh no, I don't think I'll be in help with that. I'm quite capable of dressing myself, thank you. He seems shocked by this, but I can tell he doesn't object. Very well, but I'll be outside ready to escort you to the ballroom when you're done. Thank you. Of course, my lord. He leaves through the door and another gust of wind pushes into the room. This coat is no longer keeping me from getting cold, so I quickly toss it off and throw it to the side. As I stand there shirtless looking in the mirror, I can't help but feel amazed at how my body's been able to stay in shape. I've always been more on the lean side, but I still have plenty of muscle and a toned body. My arms and the better part of my torso are covered with a moderately thick layer of hair, as well as a few scars from my past. The winter sunlight from the setting sun shines on my golden skin in a very nice way. I've never been one to care too much about my looks, but maybe Lyre is right. Maybe I am one of the most desirable bachelors in Erin. Then again, no family name puts a damper on that. I'd be nothing more than a pretentious flirt. As I think about my vanity, I mess with my hair in the mirror, trying to see if I can make it look special for tonight. I just settle with tying it back. I walk over to one of my chest of drawers and pull out the neatly folded suit I plan on wearing tonight. It's a light and breathable black wool coat with silver buttons and silk accents. There's a vented back flap and a cape attached to the shoulders that flows nicely down to the back of my knees. Along with it is a pair of black trousers and a white dress shirt with ruffled sleeves. To top it off, there's a pair of ballroom shoes that have been saving for this occasion. They're sleek black with leather laces and silver aglets. To add some colour, there's a diamond blue silk scarf that tucks into the collar of the outfit. I take it over the mirror and start to undress. After I'm fully nude, I dampen a towel and freshen up. Once I'm dressed, the sunset's already shifted to a moonlit evening. The servant outside my door has already addressed me several times, letting me know the festivities have most likely already started. I'm in no rush, though. I never like to arrive to a gathering early. Arriving to a party too early can result in too many uncomfortable situations I would rather avoid. I'm still reeling from my encounter with Adrius from earlier. I'd rather avoid people dumping information and unwanted questions on me at the current moment. Tonight is supposed to be a night of pleasure and clever conversation. After the last few stressful days, I'd like to take my mind off everything that has happened. Unfortunately, that'll seem impossible with the people that are going to be there. Wherever they go, they bring scandals and trouble. It was never like this in Erin. I feel like I'm in a charade of falsities. Nobody ever shows their true intentions. Except him, of course. Lyre is different from the rest of them. I guess that's what I like the most about him. Conversation between the two of us is as formal as ever, yet it feels genuine coming from him. I guess the main reason why is because I can trust his loyalty. Loyalty. I say to myself out loud. I guess it really is one of his most admirable qualities. Usually one who admires someone who inspires loyalty, but I've always admired those who show it. It takes a great amount of bravery and trust to follow someone to the end. My lord, are you all right? My restless ramblings fade away as the servant outside breaks me from my inner thoughts. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. We really should be going. The king is expecting you and will start to wonder where you are. When he says this, I feel a twinge of guilt, so I quickly straighten out my suit in the mirror and adjust my hair. Yes, of course, I'll be out in just a moment. As I'm walking to the door, I spot something on my desk that makes me realise I've almost forgotten something. It's my silver ring from Erin, with a sapphire socketed in the centre. I usually wear it on special occasions, mainly because I'm not really a ring person. They always seem to get in the way of doing anything with my hands. I pick the ring up and slip it onto the middle finger on my left hand. I'm tempted to slip it onto my ring finger, but then people would assume I'm engaged. Which is not the case. I do tinker with the idea of someone slipping an engagement ring onto my finger for just a moment. The idea sends a chill up my spine and then some when I think of Lyle doing it. his gentle claws pinching the ring and sliding it up to my knuckle. God, I've got to stop doing that. I stride up to the door and pull it open. I'm instantly met with a chilling rush of wind on my face. The air outside is dry, cold, and immediately makes my face feel numb. Good God, it's freezing. The first day of winter. I didn't expect it to get this cold. I pull my scarf up around my neck and tuck my hands into my armpits. Our winters are famously harsh. The Vitality Phi helps with that, though. He walks ahead and I quickly shuffle behind him. The weather isn't nearly as bad as it'll get, though. Soon the plants will have to be brought in because at one point the fire isn't enough. He turns around and notices me shivering uncontrollably. Don't worry, my lord. The ballroom is not very far. Just call me Ivor. As you wish. The further we go into the castle, the more warm the air becomes. Once we get close to the grand hall, we see more and more people. Ladies in bright, colourful dresses and men in black suits similar to mine. They seem to be on their way into the ballroom. This way, Ivor. Your party will be near the King's Lounge. I turn around and see him ushering me down a side hall with a high roof. There's a few attendants standing outside the front door wearing beautiful black uniforms. They stand straight when they see us approach. Here you are. Two attendants open the double doors and usher me to walk through. I'm surprisingly nervous. The sudden change in temperature causes a chill to run down my spine. I suddenly break into a cold sweat. It's now or never. Thank you. Of course. I step through the doorway and enter onto a balcony. I'm left completely speechless. If I had a single word to describe the ballroom, it would be elegance. This section alone is completely massive, with the roof almost as tall as the throne rooms. There are large, thick ivory curtains that line the walls, closing off sections of the hall. Large pillars of pale marble and stone adorn the walls and corners of the room, with a grand U-shaped staircase leading down from the balcony I'm standing on. Tables are strewn about the sides of the hall in a loose yet satisfying fashion. Candles, plants, and enchanting centerpieces decorate the tables and cast a soft, warm light onto the faces of the people sitting at them. The floor shines brightly and almost reflects everything like a mirror. Its checkered pattern reminds me of a chessboard. Makes sense considering that chess is almost like a dance in a way. There are a lot of individuals out on the floor. Most of them are avians and mammals. Some of them are standing off to the side in small groups, each group chatting amongst themselves. The others are dancing the beautiful waltz playing from the small stage at the base of the balcony. The music is very lovely and brings life to the room. One touch that the room has that catches my eye is a dim pink light that comes down from the chandeliers above. It casts the entire room in a rose hue and changes the ivory into a light pink and the marble into a rose quartz. Already a few people walking down the steps, a few couples with elbows locked. I begin to head down the stairs behind them and reach the bottom. The wall to my right is lined with tables full of delicious looking food. Pastries and tarts line trays along with small boards of cheese and olives. Fruit towers and cobblers are arranged neatly on plates. There's an entire table dedicated to kegs of different types of fine wine. Each keg has a labelled tap. In the very middle is a table with a pyramid of wine glasses organised delicately in the centre. Each glass is filled with a different type of wine, and in the centre is a decorative candelabra that shines light through all of the glasses, creating a colourful light show on the floors and walls around it. Wow. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Kadaj seems to appear behind me a few steps up the stairs. He reaches my level and puts his paw on my shoulder. Absolutely stunning, is it not? He gestures up towards everyone dancing on the floor. All of our hard work paid off, wouldn't you agree? Well, all of your hard work, my job was easy. He says this last part offhandedly, but in an amusing way. I suppose so. He pats me on the back and steps down. I get a good look at his outfit. It's a sleek black outfit with gold trimming. The suit fits him nicely and makes him look agile and graceful. A small golden crest is placed on his left breast along with a green lapel. Top it off, there's a green satin necktie wrapped around his collar. Once again, he's matched his clothes with his bright green eyes. As I eye his suit, I notice him looking me up and down. Ivor, I must say you look rather handsome tonight. Even after what happened yesterday. Oh, thank you. Is he flirting with me? Or is he just messing with me? You look good too. You like it? He says he puts emphasis on his suit. Outfits like this are very popular with gentlemen in dress. I had it tailored to fit my body perfectly. Well, it certainly does. Well, thank you. There's a moment of silence which I decide to break. Did you decide to come with anyone tonight? No, I don't think so. That's perfectly alright. There are plenty of people on the dance floor without a partner. I'm surprised he didn't manage to secure a partner. I'm even more surprised the girls weren't flocking after him like a murder of crows. A foreign lord with a distinct accent and charming good looks. He's perfect. Though I don't see anyone doing any of the dances, I know. Not as athletic as I had hoped. But still, it is a dance. He puts a paw on my shoulder again. He's certainly the physical type. I'll see you out on the floor. He turns to walk away but stops in his tracks. Oh, one other thing. Enjoy tonight while it lasts. I'm told that tomorrow is when the real work starts. What do you mean by that? He walks towards a group of people and does a flourished bow to a black cat. She accepts his advance and they lock elbows, walking away from the group towards the dance floor. So it's that easy, huh? Well, for him at least. I wish it was that easy for me. What did he mean by that last remark, though? What's the real work going to be? I look over toward the stage and admire the musician to take my mind off of it. There's a small river otter playing a grand piano. About half the size of a regular piano, and still his feet can barely reach the pedals. He's wearing a black suit with a ruffled collar. His playing is pretty good, and I become entranced by his paws sliding up and down the keys. That is until I notice a sweet melody come from the violinist. They are a snow leopard with a flowing mane and brown fur, wearing a black suit with ruffled sleeves and a ruffled hem. His eyes are closed, he performs the waltz, standing front and centre. You can really tell he's feeling the music as his fingers dance across the strings. Truly a master. I've always been a fan of music. The world just can't do without it. The stage they're standing on is framed by a tasteful golden archway, with curtains falling down to the ground. The gold is textured so that it catches the light in an interesting way. Each intricate swirl and detail is graced by sparkles of candlelight. The acoustics of the stage are nice too, and it allows the music to travel around the entire room. This room must have cost Raynar a fortune. Speaking of Raynar, damn it, I should have asked Kadajwa if he knew where the King's Lounge was. He's actually stepped foot into this room several times during the planning, while I have not. Too late now, I might as well go looking for it myself. So I'm about to walk around the outer walls and find my way among the crowd, and notice a tall pair of antlers. I recognise them as Raynar's horns, considering that the deer in the castle are a bit shorter than him. His antlers are also much taller. On my way over, he spots me. Ivor. Raynar says this in a surprisingly jovial tone. Hello. He is certainly decorated. His outfit is simple and beautiful. A dark black suit with a shoulder cape. The cape is adorned with a golden peacock feather pattern with a green gemstone in the centre. The suit also has the Ossian crest placed on the left breast. The outfit does a good job at showing off his body too. With that big coat on all the time, you don't get to see much, but he is quite muscular. I'd even venture to say he rivals Lyre in that department. He's truly the biggest stag I've ever seen. The most interesting part of his choice in fashion is the golden flecks that he's decorated one of his antlers with. Everything matches and it's all designed beautifully. I'd expect nothing less from a king. Your suit is very nice, Ivor. Is it from Erin? Yes, it was very hard to find something like this. The weather is much more harsh than I predicted. He takes a drink from his glass. I can't imagine how hard it would have been to find something warmer. I imagine it would be very difficult. A server walks by and Raynar places his empty glass on the tray. He also grabs a new one. Before the moment is lost, I prepare to apologise for what happened. Raynar, I wanted to apologise for what happened the other day. It was not my intention to cause so much chaos. I was just very frightened. I should have taken more control of my emotion. He holds up a hand to stop me from going any further. It's perfectly fine, Ivor. We move closer to the edge of the room as he continues to speak. His hooves clop on the ground in a satisfying way. You don't have to apologise for anything. Lyre explained to me what you told him. He did? Yes. You don't need to worry about it. I was hurt and confused at first, but I knew you wouldn't act so unhinged without a reason. We shall talk about it later in private. Oh, okay. He glances around the room while we talk, and I notice him set his eyes on something. Ah, here comes Elizabeth. Maybe you can get a second chance at her first impression. He says this, jabbing me in the shoulder with his elbow. That would make it a second impression. Wow. She's completely different from how I remember her. She's looking at me with a perplexed look that slowly fades into a look of slight discomfort. Perfect. Her hair is no longer loose and tied back, instead brought up into an intricate braided crown with gems weaved throughout the braid. The dress she wears is a light satin cloth with crystal-like leaves delicately sewn onto the base. The sleeves come down past her hands and drape by her sides. It's a very pretty dress, but I'd appreciate if she'd stop staring at me with those dead eyes. You certainly look better. She says this in a droll tone. Yes, thank you. I apologise for the other day. She wastes no time in answering. Apology accepted. I don't really understand what's going on, but Raynar speaks very highly of you. I trust his judgment. She turns to him slowly with a cocked eyebrow. I just hope he trusts his own judgment. Raynar rolls his eyes amusingly at this comment, not taking it too seriously. Liz, he has been nothing but helpful. And a good friend. Liz? She tilts her head at him with a look of intrigue. If you say so. Another servant walks by with a tray of drinks. She takes one off and so do I. Liz, why are you not dancing? I thought you enjoyed dancing. You talked so fondly of your experiences during your stay in Driss. She smiles and takes a sip from her glass. I've already danced to a few songs with a couple of lords, but I've been taking a small break. I'd like to see you dance in these. She lifts her dress and gestures to her footwear, which look a bit uncomfortable. Hell, I'd like to see him wearing shoes. I say this as I point at his hooves. That would be an interesting sight. He chuckles as he retorts. Even Elizabeth lets out a laugh. The jokes and small talk help to lighten the mood a bit. Elizabeth sighs and then looks over at me, her lips pressed up to her wine glass as she speaks. Ivor, was it? Do you dance? Oh. Well, I'm certainly not beat deaf, but I wouldn't consider myself the best at dancing. She eyes me while taking a sip from her glass. Her eyes are starting to give off less of a dead look and more of a smug demeanour. I guess we'll just have to see. She holds out her hand. I don't... Would you like to dance? I stare at her hand for a moment, feeling a bit intimidated. It's not that I don't want to dance, I just don't want to inflict more harm to my dignity. No, it's just a dance. Nothing out of the ordinary. I take her hand in my own and give a slight bow. It would be my pleasure. She gives me an excited smile. It's weird. She doesn't seem like the type to smile. The first impression I got from her made me think she'd be much more... stern? Oh, I think I'll go get one last drink. We leave Raynar as he heads to the tables and make our way out onto the floor. The musician's already playing a song, so we just join the dance. I take her hand and she rests her arm on my shoulder. I gently place my hand on her waist and begin to sway and step in motion to the song. Her dress gently glides across the floor. I find myself trying not to step on it. See, you're too hard on yourself. No, you're too kind. The situation becomes less awkward as we finally settle into the rhythm of the music. You sound a lot like my father. What? Oh, it's nothing. You just shared the same accent as him. Oh. She has Lyrian accent, though. Did you grow up here? For the most part. My father and I moved here from Erin when I was just an infant. For what reason? It's nothing really important. I guess Lyre just presented him with a really good opportunity. I hold her hand up into the air and guide her around me in a circle. If she makes a full cycle around me, we go back to doing a gentle waltz. I spot Kadaj on the other side of the ballroom, chatting up a few girls. Looks like he's showing them a very energetic dance. Some of them are giggling. He's clearly got them in the palm of his paw. Would it be safe to guess you didn't grow up around humans much? Isn't it obvious? Yes, it would. Growing up in Lyre, I've only had the pleasure of knowing a few humans. I've met plenty of humans in my 25 years of living, but only known a few. I really can't imagine that. In Erin, it's quite the opposite. I know. The climate is much more favourable for us over there. I almost step on her foot, but narrowly avoid it. I look to her for a reaction, but it looks like she's trying to ignore it. Yes, it is. How'd you like it here in Lyre, though? Oh, it's very nice. The people here are very pleasant. I've been welcomed with open arms on multiple occasions. I'm starting to think that some of the people here can be a bit fake. I even hear you've become very good friends with the captain of the Royal Guard. At this point I do slightly trip over a foot, which causes me to lose my balance for a moment. Yes, I have. He's been an excellent acquaintance these past few weeks. I'd imagine so. Captain Reed and I don't converse much, but he's a very kind wolf. He's done so much for this kingdom, and I think he's the best person to introduce you to the land. I agree. Although I will admit, I believe he's a bit afraid of me. What? Lyle, afraid of you? Yes, but believe me, it makes sense. You haven't seen much of it. I can be a completely different person at times. When it comes to my job, I can be very serious. That clears up a lot. I steady myself and we resume our dance. I can understand that. It's just the way I am. As the King's advisor, it's my job to make sure things run smoothly. I've also been told I can be a bit intimidating. I can definitely understand that. She smirks and then sighs while letting out a chuckle. I can't help it. I work up the courage to ask her another question to keep the conversation going. So, you found me going by Elizabeth? Oh, what do you mean? Well, Raina called you Liz earlier. I was just wondering if you preferred a different name. Oh, I see. Most people call me Elizabeth. People I work with call me Liz or Eliza. Only my father can call me Lizzie. And if you ever call me that, you'll regret it. She says this last part with some levity in her voice, which gets me to laugh. Her dry humour is spot on. The song ends and we bow. That was actually quite pleasant. More fun than I thought it would be. She seems happy too, but I can't know if she's just faking it so as not insult me. So, what was it like growing up in Erin? As I'm about to answer, I see someone from across the ballroom floor. It's Lyle. He's standing up against the wall close to Raynar watching us dance. I can't really see him too well through the crowd, but I know it's him. Please, excuse me. I bow down, kiss the back of her hand and walk away. Where are you going? I need to go stretch my legs. You're leaving a dance floor to go and stretch your legs? I'm already too far away from her to respond without shouting, so I just keep walking. He spots me walking towards him and meets me halfway. Hello, Ivor. Hello. I can't hold it back. My face is probably as flush as it can get. I've never seen him in anything but his armour and his regular clothes. He looks so handsome in a suit. It's all snowy white with blue accents and a silver line on each important piece. His shoulders are adorned with silver epaulets which shine brightly in the candlelight.
Well, I like your hair.
His tail is wagging furiously behind him, right around to make it look like I notice. My hair always looks like this.
Oh, yes.
So is this some sort of captain's uniform?
Well, actually, yes. I only wear it on special occasions since it's very uncomfortable. Oh, but I'm glad you like it.
Of course. You look very handsome.
Oh. What?
I watch his hackles raise and his fur fluff out. I guess he really liked that. His tail is still wagging really fast.
Thank you.
He really calms down and takes a sip from his wine glass. It's a slightly bigger one, it's almost empty.
So, I see you met Liz?
Oh, yes. She seems nice. A lot different from how she was the other day.
Well, the other day was a bit hectic. A lot has happened.
Like what? Lyre throws a casual yet alert glance around the room.
Well, I'll tell you later. It's nothing too serious, trust me.
Please don't tell me there's another problem in the canyon.
Oh no, nothing like that. Really, I'd rather not talk about it here.
Okay, I won't say another word on the subject. I really want to ask about it, but I also don't want to seem like a pest. This is a party. So, well, you said you'd be doing your job while you were here.
Oh, yes?
What does that mean? He quirks his lip and thinks for a second.
Well, I'm basically here to keep guard. Make sure nothing bad happens. I just have to stay alert.
Well then. I grabbed the empty wine glass from his paw and rotated, swirling around the minuscule amount of liquid left. Shouldn't you be trying not to get drunk?
Well, it's not that.
He clears his throat.
Oh, trust me, I'll be fine.
No, you won't. You might not, but I remember the last time you were drunk. I hand the wine glass back to him. Humans are very pretty, but I think wolves are even prettier.
Huh? Wait. I said that?
I poke him on the nose and step behind him and get a glass off of the wine table. He shakes his head a bit in disbelief and walks up behind me with a smirk. He reaches around to grab his own glass. I can feel him lean close to my ear. His hot breath blows onto the back of my neck.
Oh, trust me, drunk or not, I'll always be there to protect you, my lord.
It sends a shiver up my spine. I start to feel hot in the face. Stop teasing me.
Well, I'm not.
Really? I turn around and offer him my hand. Oh, prove it. At first, it doesn't look like he knows what I'm implying. Then, as if on cue, he takes my hand right as the musicians prepare to play another song. As we walk out on the dance floor, I notice he looks a bit nervous. I squeeze his paw a bit and he looks down at me. Are you afraid of what they'll think? Two males dancing with each other? You said to yourself, nobody minds.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just... Well, in Lyre, a wolf.
The music starts and he just stands there wide-eyed. Lyle?
Alright. I'll lead.
He grabs me by the waist and takes my hand with his other paw. I guess I knew he'd be leading considering his stature. I don't want him to have to bend over too much though, so I adjust my arms to his height. The dance starts off a bit slow, the two of us pacing slowly across the floor. I feel like I've had a bit too much to drink, even with just one glass. He's not a bad dancer, even considering how different our legs are. Are you comfortable?
Oh, I don't know. Everyone's looking at us.
I look around and notice there are several people off the sides who are looking our way. Some have shocked expressions and some have blank faces. I see Liz standing off to the side. She has a confused look on her face, but smirks and raises her glass to us. I guess she's figured it out. Don't worry, Lyle.
But
Lyle. I gently rest my head onto his chest as we move our feet to the rhythm of the song. Just you and me right now. The lights above us dim and a couple of smooth blue spotlights move around on the floor in rhythm to the music. Creates a very moody lighting and become entranced in the music. This is the perfect romantic situation. He doesn't respond to that last remark though. Instead he just holds me closer to his body. The smell of coconut invades my senses and become lost in his warm embrace. His neck fluff is irresistibly soft. I can hear his heart beating through his chest. It's beating fast. Are you sure you're okay? I don't get a response at first. After a few seconds he responds.
Yes. Sorry, I guess I just froze up.
Why is that? I ask this in an amusingly curious voice.
Ivor, do you have feelings for me?
I can now feel my heart beating rapidly against my ribs. These heavy clothes aren't helping either because I feel myself sweating profusely. Lyle. He guides me around him, similar to how I led Liz around me earlier. Once we meet again, I come back to his front and look off to my side while we continue to dance. Lyle, I'm not sure what I feel. I see him give me an inquisitive yet concerned look from the corner of my eye. My feelings for you grow with every day that passes. I turn to face him but stare into his torso as I speak. But my emotions are very complex. Sometimes I don't know what I feel. I wish to be with you no matter what people think. Our ranks don't matter to me. Our dance turns into more of a conversation. He still guides me across the floor, his claws clacking against the ground sometimes. I'm only technically a lord. I pause and look up at him. He's staring at me with anticipation. I can tell you're eager for my answer, but I must ask you this first. The song and dance seems like it's entering its finale. What were you hoping I would say? The waltz reaches its crescendo in its final drawn-out note and we enter a dip. I glance out of the corner of my eye and notice the other dancers are going in for a kiss. Two foxes lock lips and carry each other into a warm embrace. Is this it? Is this happening? My body lowers to the floor as he leans over me. His widened eyes are staring into mine. I feel as if my gaze has gone through his soul and reflected back into my own. I close my eyes in anticipation. Nothing happens. I open my eyes and Lyle is staring at me with a nervous gaze. He raises me back up and glances around at the rest of the room.
I'm sorry. We shouldn't have.
I look around and see everyone staring at us out of the corner of their eyes. Just us. Just me and him. The room suddenly starts to feel like it's been warped. I pick up on the distant chatter. Am I the only one who just saw that? Did that wolf just try to kiss him? No, I think it was the human. Looked like he was expecting it. I hear them talking on the dance floor. Apparently that lord has feelings for Captain Reed. Oh, really? That's completely unheard of. And how do you feel the same? Could you imagine? Oh, for love of the human, you're in Lyre. No, that's impossible. My mind is spinning right now. 1,000 thoughts run through my head. What is going on? What's so wrong with us being together? They're from Erin, you know. I heard a lot about how they do things differently there. Maybe just go back to Erin with the rest of the lot. Hey, now, there's no need to be insensitive. So this is what they think. I see Liz standing a bit outside of the crowd. She has a concerned look plastered on her face and I see her look at me. I watch her mouth some words in my direction, but I can't understand what she's saying. I don't see Rain or Kadaj anywhere in sight. The music hasn't started playing again. The room becomes a cascading pit that threatens to swallow me. I look up at Lyre and see him glancing around nervously. He looks down at me with fear in his eyes.
Ivor, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to say or do. I tried to...
He chokes on his words. He's rubbing his paws together in a nervous way.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe this. I want to leave.
All right.
He puts his arm around me and starts to lead me towards the stairs. Alone, please.
But I wanted to explain...
Lyre, please. We'll talk later. I say this in a hushed whisper. I just don't feel like being around anyone right now. I break away from his arms and begin to walk towards the stairs. Everyone I walk past is completely silent. Every single eye is on me. I hate it. After climbing a few steps, I turn around and address the people in the room. To all of you shams who smile at me through your teeth. I pause, feeling like there's a large ball in my throat. Only to have your good opinion crushed by something so trivial. Enjoy yourselves. There's a dreadful silence that falls over the rest of the ballroom. I look down and see Lyre standing at the base of the steps. He looks concerned and confused. For a moment I think I can see a flicker of admiration in his face. It's like he's happy I'm standing up for myself. I thought this was a party. There's even more silence while the music resumes. I trudge my way up the stairs and go through the main hall doors. So what's going to happen next? We'll find out next time in Lyre, which will be not too far away, I think. I haven't quite scheduled that far yet. But as to what's up next, that's going to be a surprise. A few things planned over the next few weeks. And if those of you who did catch my short little video the other day, the Q&A will be definitely going ahead. There's enough interest in it that I will either be recording or maybe even streaming at some point, probably early August. But I will let people know when that happens. And just to round up quickly as always, thanks to all my patrons and the people who donate on Ko-fi, and my top patrons are Burnt Toast, Kartek, Kobas Visser, Besuksu, Larkaskaten, Bastian, Ryan Hall, Gunnar Muller, Tiger Cub, Ida Corval, Anubis Silverwind, Dissonance, Grizz, Spiderling, Kopi, Sindri Dragowolf, Marcus, Evan King, and Monolith. And if you want to support the Patreon, there's a link in the description. Also, if you want to support Lyre, you can go and follow the link in the description, and you can help support this one as well. So, until the mystery video in a few days, thanks for watching, and bye for now.